Well, we're back. We're going to go over the application cloth, which is, they call them rags, they call them pads, they call them rubbers, they call them tampons. The big key is cheesecloth. It's primarily 100% cotton, but the most important factor is the weave. And when you get cheesecloth from Lubricite 77, they're going to come in a multiple array of weaves because they're cutoffs. So you're going to find some that are a little tighter like this compared to ones that are open like that. They all will work, but the tighter weave is better. And the 21, 24 is the best. So the big key with these is you've got to pull them and stretch them completely open. And what's great is that they tear easily, just like that. So you want to tear it to the right size. Now we're going to make 4 different pads for 4 different projects. We have a dresser that I restored that the top needs to be done, and it's rather large, so I'm going to have the largest pad for that. We're going to do this little chair, and then I have a gun stock that we had to repair a chip to that I have to do a little bit of touch up, and then a fine little French polish to it. And that's another term, French polish, because we've been talking about this. French polishing is the way that the Lubricite is applied. It's a padding lacquer. It's unique. It's not shellac. It has shellac base, but it's not shellac. It's not shellac and alcohol. It's got a unique, consistent blend to it that's a certain viscosity that goes on so thin, and it's thinner than the traditional 1.5 pound cut shellac cuts that's used for French polishing. So in any event, let's go back to making the pad. You want to pull out all your little ends. This is going to be the medium size. Primarily, fold it in half, pull it taut, pull it taut. You get about this size, you start folding it in. You want to fold your tails in. So fold it in, and you start to tuck it that you get a nice little pad. You fold that final tail in. Now this is a small pad. You have a small little tip that allows you to get into corners. You have a little bit of a heel here that's flat. And this whole area is your surface that's going to work something small like this. It's not going to be a big pad, and it's not going to be a small pad. So this pad is appropriate for this job. Now I had pulled a few. Because they're cutoffs, you're only getting small pieces. I need a big pad for that dresser back there. So I'm going to need to add a few together unless I had one big cloth. So I'm going to fold one over, and it's kind of the same thing. I'm going to only fold it till about here. Pull this a little tighter. Start to create my pad. Tuck your tail in. That's the base. I'm going to add that over. And you're pulling it nice and taut. Now I'm going to shape it into my hand a little bit better once I get it. But see, that's twice the size. It's a little too big, but I could still use this here. But it's not big enough for that big dining room tabletop or that conference tabletop, or if you're going to do paneling in a house. You want the pad to be appropriate to your work surface. This one I didn't make as tight. Pull it in. Kind of join them together. It's better when you have a big cloth that you mold it into your hand. My father tried to teach me padding and said, I can teach you only so much. After that, it's a feeling, and it's like bread and butter, and you're either going to have it or you're not. Part of the pad is the same thing. Now, I had taken 3 pieces of cheesecloth to make a large pad, and it got to be too fat of a ball in my hand. It needs to be more oval. So I kind of reshaped it, and as I was shaping it, didn't feel right. That's better, okay? And now what I want to do is put this last layer over it to make it a little fuller. And the reason it's bigger is because not only the surface, but the amount of padding lacquer you want to put onto your cloth when you charge it, that you have enough to go through all the different cycles. This feels better. And it probably will even look better. I don't necessarily need a point, but I've got a nice surface here. It's got plenty of area to be charged. I flatten it out first before I charge it. So that's my surface. So this is my pad for that Beautiful satin wood dresser from the 1920s. Now I have one little pad here. I got to do a gun stock. And I have to do touch-up on it, but I'm going to do the touch-up with a brush. I would probably use this one to do the touch-up here on some of the edges. The weave on this is a little wide. I'd rather have something a little tighter. And what I'm going to do is get a pair of scissors and cut that. Be able to use that small little point to do the gun stock. So these are our 3 different sizes. I made a small one because this is what I'm going to need for my color. Okay, just fold it over once or twice. And this is what I want to shape because I want to be able to pinpoint color on a small little area. So I'm folding in my tails. And I'm getting a tiny little pad. So look at the difference. I mean, from here to here. You know, they have different purposes. So this will allow me to pinpoint, get enough charged. I'd probably do areas like this. I only need it appropriated for the size when I'm doing my color. So that I'll use for touch-up. And I'll talk later about how this pad works once it's charged, how you extract the material. But at the same time, how the Lubricite Padding Lacquer gets absorbed into it. You need to know how much to put into it.